So how do you manage your dividend portfolio? I'm assuming you are in the process of building a equity portfolio where you want to grow your equity portfolio to such a level that you can retire with just the dividend income. So no asset allocation, everything in equities, and you live off your dividend income. Now it's very difficult to do that, especially this year. Why am I making these videos in 2020? Because you will see a lot of drop in value of the shares that you hold, rise in the PE, and the drop in the dividends, right? This is a time when you should not be looking at any of these numbers and panicking. You should be looking at the average PE and the average EPS rather than the current year, because the current year is going to be bad. We all know that the current year is going to be bad, so let us prepare for it. So first of all, it is difficult to monitor your portfolio and see a 50% fall in the value, but then you are not monitoring only the value of the stock that you have bought, you are also monitoring the dividend that you are receiving or about to receive. So it's a very small number in terms of fall. One of your shares would have fallen 50%, one would have fallen 40%. Now you compare it to the benchmark, maybe the overall fall matches that of the benchmark, or maybe the benchmark itself is large cap and you have a portfolio which has got large cap, mid cap, etc. So your fall may not be that much, or it could be more. But what you are more interested in monitoring as a dividend value investor is the amount of dividend that you get. Now see how much the dividend is falling and how much the dividend has fallen. See, two things are happening. One, from this year there will be TDS on dividends, which is 7.5% on dividends, especially only if the dividend exceeds rupees 5,000. So if you've got all holdings in such a way that the dividend that you receive is less than 5,000 from each company, you will not have any TDS. But the others, if you have a bigger portfolio with a lot of dividend income, which big dividends, which means anything above 5,000, you will have 7.5% TDS. So those who buy and hold for very long periods of time are really a rare breed. So whenever I make such comments, there will be some stupid person who will comment, 25 years ago nobody was buying shares, or 35 years ago nobody was buying shares. All this is nonsense. I come from a suburb of Mumbai where all of us would apply for shares right in 1975. So you're talking of 25 plus 20, 45 years ago. Now don't tell me that 25 years ago people were not investing. 25 years ago is just 1995. The new private sector mutual funds had also come, and it was definitely a time when people were investing in equities and in mutual funds. So don't get into that. And remember, one huge advantage that you have as a direct equity investor, you don't need to do any activity. The only charges you will pay are the bank's demat charges, which is again negotiable. If you are a wealth customer, good chance that some of it at least will get waived off. You will also pay some brokerage for buying shares out of the dividends that you receive. Other than that, there is no compulsory sitting fees that you are paying for by holding on to the portfolio. Now, if you were in a mutual fund, you would pay fees for just doing nothing. But as an individual shareholder, the only thing is you get an advantage of getting a dividend, and you don't have to pay any charges. Now, because the Dalal Street or makes money on activity, they will keep telling you, you should review your portfolio, you should sell something, you should buy something. You don't need to do something like that if you are worried, if you are sure about the quality of the company with which you are dealing. So if you have created a good portfolio, or you know how to create a good portfolio, I've done videos on that, saying how much is the market share, what is it happening, how is it growing, right? You look at all that, and then you bought the shares, you created the portfolio. There is absolutely no need for you to churn, right? Another edge you have as an individual investor is that you don't have to worry about tax till you withdraw. Yes, dividends are taxable in your hand now, but I think people should be able to understand that there is no dividend distribution tax of about 28%. So whatever tax you are paying, for most of the people watching this video, you will not be in the 30 or 40% slab. So even if you are in the 27.5% slab, it doesn't matter, simply because earlier you were paying more tax and now you are paying less tax, and whatever tax is being deducted is the 7.5% TDS, that which you are going to get an offset because it will be mentioned in your 26A. That is specific to you. So you will get a set off of that in your IT return. So you don't, your costs of holding equity has not gone up because dividend has been taxed. That's again a myth that people are talking about. The other edge that the long-term investor has is by postponing the income tax on that, because every year you will have some capital gain accrued to you, but you will pay tax only when you sell it, right? So you have an advantage there also. Your other edge comes from the fact that you do not really care how you are doing against any benchmark. So nobody is going to compare you to some benchmark mutual fund in the sense that how are you compared to the Sensex, to the Nifty, etc. It doesn't matter. As long as you are sure that you have enough money to meet your goals and you are going towards that in the perfectly correct direction, benchmarks won't matter at all. Thank you.